So I just got off my stream with Naman Hyung, and we just did a recap of our, you know, uh, sort of interviews during API Heritage Month in May, and we had a great time. Hopefully, you guys had an opportunity to go check out all the videos. um, we got to connect with a lot of cool community members and um, artists who, you know, are Asian American, represent the AAPI community. And yeah, we're just really looking forward to um, continuing it. I think what I really get out of it is just the personal connections that we make. We still talk to everybody, from David to Greg to John Boy Myers to, um, and we plan to continue the engagement with the people we met last month. So yeah, thanks for supporting and checking us out. Um, we hope to continue to bring more artists for next year and keep it going. So really, this is just going to be a quick video. As you know, I've been quite busy. My $400 budget got unlocked, and within the first week, I went out and bought a bunch of books. Um, I want to say I've spent about $100 already. And we're not even like a full weekend. So I am really like forcing myself because we want to have money for the slab, the GI Joe signature series. We're cracking and resubmitting that book for Larry Hama's signature. I need money to get the ticket to SummerCon. I need money to pick up a few books there and, really kind of enjoy the experience. But I also want to be able to take some books there to have signed. And so it's this kind of mixed bag of like, well, do I go out and pick up stuff or do I just stick with the stuff I have? So far, all the stuff that I've picked up are just things I've been meaning to add to the PC. And they're inexpensive pickups. But again, I'm it adds up, and so I think I need to kind of chill for a couple weeks, and take the remaining $300 I have to the con to enjoy that. Now I will be picking up a couple more books at Jeff's. Again, we're targeting a few books to get signed, but if I don't find it at Jeff's, then we're just going to work with what I have. This book is a little bit of I don't want to say it's a mistake because I have been meaning to get this book for a while. So it's not a mistake, but I feel like, well, when I show it to you, we'll go over what's problematic about it. And again, to me, it's not problematic, but to you guys, it might be like a little bit perplexing. It was a little perplexing to me as well. Now, first of all, this person here, I got this off of eBay, and this person is not a comic book collector, obviously. And in fact, her store doesn't, I think she picks up stuff at cons, but she's not like a comic book collector. I think she probably goes there for like maybe cosplay or something else, but she had this book, and oh man, she just did this horrible hacking job with it. I hope it's not damaged. Yeah, it's got a little corner crease here. There's a sticker rub there. I guess for the most part, it'll suit my purposes. So let me just show you what I got. I got this. It's really cheap. I got it uh, with tax and everything. It cost $10, which I feel is like kind of it's around what I want to pay for it. Um, but what's really great about this is that it's 50 years of San Diego Comic Con. We have a note here from the person who says thank you. Okay, thank you. I mean, it's not, again, not the best packaging job, but this book is going to get opened and closed and it's going to be handled a lot. So for me, I don't think I mind too much. Now, why did I get this book? So, as for those of you who follow me, I already have the book. um, okay, I already have the book like this. And uh, I've always wanted a second copy of the book. And but I mean that just wanting a second, I want a second copy of a lot of things that I think are cool, and I think this book is very cool. There's two reasons I want a second copy. One is to kind of like be able to look through it from time to time, so like kind of like a reader's copies, And this is sort of like the one I would not open and just keep preserved in good condition. Um, but the other reason is, and this is a shout out to Sean at Slim Comics. Is the other reason is he had once mentioned to me. So Sean keeps this really cool sketchbook. Okay, that he'd started 20 years ago. He had got this sketchbook, really thick sketchbook, but he took it to the con, and when he asked artists to sign it, because it's a sketchbook, oftentimes the artists not only sign it, they draw him a sketch. That's what you do in a sketchbook. So it's sort of this way of getting them to draw something without, just kind of like implying that's what you want them to do without really having to ask. It's uh, specifically. And I always thought that was a great idea, right? I always thought that was a great idea and something I wanted to do and something I kind of wanted to start. Um, and I was kind of, with the fact that I'm going to SummerCon, the fact that I'm going to be at Rose City and we're targeting Emerald City, we've kind of got three comic book conventions kind of on our radar where we can really kind of get this project started. I wanted to do something very similar to what Sean did, where you get signatures of different artists, and if they write a short message or if they draw a short, like a sketch or something, just to really kind of highlight that engagement and keep it sort of as a separate, not have the comic books signed, but then kind of as a last sort of thing, like, I keep this little, uh, this issue of the 50th anniversary of this San Diego Comic Con with me. I'm just wondering if you could sign pages. And so what's really interesting about this, there's a lot of artists in here, like pictures, descriptions. And so, for example, we're going to meet Larry Hama, right? We're going to meet Larry Hama at SummerCon. And what I would want to do is like, look, there's probably going to be a page in here that focuses on, there's sort of a kind of like memoriam of artists that were lost in 2019 or 2018, 2019. Um, so they have that. That's kind of cool. But you know what I mean? Like there's just a bunch of artists here. Like there's Frank Miller's picture, Craig Miller, Todd McFarlane. Uh, I'm sure Larry Hama's in here somewhere. Let me see here. There's Gene Ha. So I'm not seeing Larry Hama. These are the special guests they had in 2019. So obviously, Neil was there as a special artist in 2019. Um, that's kind of cool. Though we can't get this book signed by Neil. Maybe one of his family members someday. Um, I'm just looking for one of the artists that we might run into. I mean, obviously, there's Jim Lee's in here at some level. I mean, we could get this artist page signed or just the front cover signed by Jim. I think we'd target the front cover or the back cover, the one Superman. But it goes through year by year. For example, here's Comic Con 2012, right? And here are some of the artists that were there: Kate Beaton, Klaus Johnson, Robert Kirkman, Jeff Lemire, Nate Powell, Scott Snyder, Mike Uslan. So if I were to meet any of those guys, I'd turn to 2012 and say, could you sign, kind of like a yearbook, could you sign a yearbook? And just find the page or just ask them, hey, is there a specific year you were at San Diego Comic Con? Do you remember the year you were there? And kind of just get a conversation started, turn to that year and have that artist or writer, again, sign this book. So there are a lot of pages for them to sign. There's a lot of years for them. If they say, hey, I want to sign 2005 because that was a good year, you know, we let them do that. And so I thought that was kind of my project. It's a little different than the sketchbook. It's more like if this is if San Diego Comic Con is sort of the school of, I guess, the comic book industry, this is sort of like covering the 50 years of this event, this anniversary sort of con program is kind of a cool way to, right? Like, look at this. In 1988, George R. Martin, Matt Groening, Arthur Adams, Matt Wagner, these were the guys headlining the 88 Comic Con. Right? That's a great lineup of creatives. Here again, 89. Jerry Robinson, Bill Sienkiewicz, Gahan Wilson. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. There's just a lot of history in here. So many, I mean, like Stan Lee is right there, pictured with Spider-Man in 1990, right? It just, you just start to see this thing emerge as like a cultural and really the industry, the face of the industry, right? There's John Byrne, there's a Stan Sakai sketch, there's a Frank Miller cover, Jim Aparo in 93, Jim Aparo, Vincent Sullivan. 96, Dave Gibbons, Jim Mooney, Kurt Schaffenberger. I mean, it's just literally like it's a who's who of the industry. And a lot of great photos, a lot of great cover art for the con. Halle Berry, Angelina Jolie, Alex Ross. So I just, for me, this book, I kind of wanted a more, like this one I just keep wrapped up. I never open it up and look at it, but I just kind of wanted something more tangible, one where we could take to the cons and again just have people sign. I don't want people signing on the outside of this. Maybe I'll just get Jim Lee's signature on the outside. But in terms of the interiors, like for example, I'd want, if I ever got Capullo's signature, I'd want him to sign this Capullo ad or this Batman Last Night on Earth ad. Here we have Frank Miller, John Romita Jr., their work on Superman Year One. I'd want to get those guys to sign on that page. There are just a lot of like cool things where here's a, oh, that's cool. There's a picture of Bob Kane drawing Batman. Like, not that I'd ever meet Bob Kane because he's not no longer with us, but that's kind of what I'm saying is like you get an artist, maybe they were born in 1970, and this thing, wow, get out of here. Osamu Tezuka was headlining the event in 1980. That is crazy. Along with John Byrne, Chris Claremont, Go Nagai. I mean, this is like a history book of the event with photos of people cosplaying back in 81. It's just a really cool book. So I think what's also significant about this covers the, against the 50th anniversary edition. And so this was for July 18th to the 21st of 2019. And as you know, San Diego Comic-Con, out of that rich history of just putting events on every year, they do the 50th anniversary, and the 51st event gets canceled due to COVID. So that year, 2020, the first time in its 50-year history that the event got interrupted due to a global pandemic and public health emergency. So for me, like just having this book symbolizes like kind of what we all went through as comic book artists or just as people, right? During this period. It's a reminder to me like, hey, even though, we had this horrible thing happen and our lives got interrupted and all of us were impacted, San Diego Comic-Con is back. And that's really kind of like what I am looking to do. When I meet Larry Hama and I'm able to, whether I'm able to shake his hand or not, but when he's signing my books or when I'm talking to him, I really want that connection to be also with all the artists that I meet from here on out at cons. And there's that engagement that takes place. This is sort of going to be the broader record of those types of engagements. So hopefully by the end of whatever this comic book hobby, wherever it takes me and however long I do it, hopefully by the end of that journey and, when I'm able to eventually pass this on to my son to either keep the tradition going or just have as a record of his dad's love for this hobby. It'll be something to admire and behold in terms of all the signatures we hope to get in this book. And so as you're flipping, you're going to see a name. You're going to see like whose signature is that, and I'll keep like a supplemental list of all the names and the pages that they're signed in, so people can really reference that. But so many great images here, so many great pictures, so many great names. really captures sort of like the 50 years of what this event has meant for so many people. I mean, 2018, right? Like, look at those cosplayers having fun, and all the movie and pop culture celebration. Like, there's a great picture of Neil right there, smiling. And 2013, it was Jerry Conway, Ellen Forney, Gary Frank, Rep. John Lewis, Representative John Lewis, um, the civil rights uh, icon, was at San Diego Comic Con in 2013 as a comic book writer of a book called March, obviously in reference to um, the March on Washington. Um, Leonard Maltin, I mean, this is just, it's crazy. Like, looking through this, it's just absolutely like, I'd encourage you guys to get it. I mean, I got it because of the great Jim Lee cover, but it's 50 years of San Diego Comic Con history in here. So there's just so many names, and it's just all in the context of that the various years, who was headlining, the attendance, highlights, like here's a picture of Spielberg and John Byrne. Is that John Byrne? Who's that? I think it's John Byrne. No, it's what's his face? Peter, the guy who directed Lord of the Rings. Okay. Um, Peter Jackson, Steven Spielberg, and Peter Jackson, right there in 2011, taking a photo with that. There's Jason Momoa, um, Scott Williams, and Alex Sinclair. Great photo of those guys. Um, Another great Jim Lee. Jim Lee did the cover for the Comic Con souvenir book in 2011 too. Great cover there. So yeah, I mean, that's the reason I got this book. I got it again. And I don't mind getting a second copy because, again, my intent with this book is to get it signed. I'm going to try to get all the artists I meet, just as a side. Like, if I don't think they'll charge, I'm going to get my books signed, obviously. And if I have to pay to get those books signed, that's fine. But I think for something like this, I'm going to give them context as to why I want their signature. Again, I'm going to say, look, for example, if I meet Larry Hama, I'm going to say, Mr. Hama, I would like if you could sign this book. It's the 50th uh, anniversary of San Diego Comic Con. It's the program that came out during that event. And it chronicles all 50 years of the Comic Con history. And I was just hoping, if you remember a specific year that you were at the event, if you could sign that page. I should probably do that homework, look through this and find the year Larry Hama was headlining. Maybe he never headlined the event, but if that's the case, I definitely want him to let me know what year he was there that was memorable. So, for example, 1991, Jim Lee, Neil Gaiman, Clive Barker. That's insane. I am not seeing Larry's name here, but that's not to say during the 90s he probably wasn't. Let's see if he's in the 80s. Again, Osamu Tezuka, Adam West in the 8th, Chris Claremont, John Byrne. I mean, these are just Jim Shooter, Dave Sim in 81, 82, Brian Ball and Frank Miller, George Perez in 83, Kurt Swan, Al Williams in 84, 85, Alan Moore, 86. Okay. 788. So I'm not seeing Larry's name on any of the sort of the headlining. Maybe in the 70s it might be there. I'm not seeing it in the 70s either. Wow. C.C. Beck, Charles Schultz. I mean, in the 70s, there's literally just this like Bob Kane, John Buscema, John Romita Sr., Len Wein, Marv Wolfman, and all this great art. Joe Shuster, Jack Kirby, all this great art in here. Really a great read. I think if you are a fan of comic books, this is right up your alley in terms of things you'd want to own. Now, they gave out a lot of these at the con. You know, they give out a lot of these, but you can get them off of eBay rather cheap right now. So I would encourage you to do it. Again, this is like just a different. I don't want to wrinkle it too much. This is just a different kind of collectible in the sense that it's definitely a comic book collectible because it's got great comic book art. It's got Jim Lee's art on there, right there on the top, right? But it's also it's a collectible that is a part of history and just sort of just gives you a snapshot, sort of a historical snapshot of all these, of how the con evolved and how many great people have been part of this event for so many years, 50 years. So yeah, that's kind of my long-term project. What's up? What's up, K-pop? Right? Cons are fun. I'm going to SummerCon, which is in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'm going to Rose City Comic Con in September. I'm not going to San Diego Comic Con, but for me, it's not about going to San Diego and getting these signatures. It's about whatever con I go to from here on out, whatever artist who's in the industry that I engage with. I want to get their signature of this book and just catalog that engagement. And I think it'll be what's up, Joe? I think that'll be just a cool thing to get people's signatures on. So again, there's lots of pages in here to get people to sign. It's not like you're going to have everybody signing on the cover, which, as great as that is, it can kind of get congested. This one, you can have people signing like a yearbook, just pick their spots, whatever year they want to sign on, whatever image they want to sign on. Just give them sort of the, like, kind of approach it like, would you sign my Comic Con yearbook? This is a program from the 50th anniversary of the con in 2019. I really appreciate it if you could just find a place to sign in here that's important to you, whether it could be a specific year, it could be an image, but just put your signature in my book. Would appreciate that. And hopefully they can do that on top of like if they're going to be like, no, I can only sign like 3 comic books and I can't sign this, or I have to charge you. If they're going to be like that, it's like, maybe I don't want you in my to sign my comic book yearbook. But if they're like, signed all the comic books, and then I make that request, and like, sure, then we'll get their signature on this book as well. And then again, this is a longer project where every event we go to, we're gonna take this book with us. and we're going to try to just engage with as many artists and people we want to connect with and get their signature. So that's why I have 2 copies of this now. And I mean, aside from the great cover, this is just a great cover, right? It's like, look at that Jim Lee cover. Beautiful. It's a beautiful connecting cover. Aside from the great cover by Jim Lee, this is just something I've been meaning to kind of get another copy of, just to have as, again, that copy I can kind of flip through and look through, but more specifically now to have people sign like a yearbook. So thanks, Sean, for the idea, but I kind of modified the idea. Sean takes this blank sketchbook, just like sketchbook of white paper, has the artist sign, and then oftentimes the artists see the other sketches in there and they sketch and sign. So he gets all these like free sketches and sign signatures. I'm hoping that's eventually kind of what will happen with this book. Like someone will take the time as they're signing their name like a yearbook, kind of maybe doodle and do a sketch. That's definitely within the realm of possibilities. But for the most part, this is just, for me, just kind of like a yearbook. I'm just going to get their signature. So many great names in here. And I really hope Larry has a year that he, because that would be just a nice little conversation starter, I think. Like, Mr. Hama, do you remember? I think Miss Larry is probably at the most recent San Diego Comic Con, so this doesn't even have, it's only up to 2019, but maybe he'll sign 2019. Maybe he was there in 2019, who knows? This is definitely an event where so many people go and are represented in the event that, yeah, it would make sense if 2019, most of the artists I meet will have attended that event, right? The 50th anniversary. Yeah, I'm just looking through this because it's like so cool. There's so many different aspects to the people that put this book together. Really put a lot of thought and passion into this project. And they do this great feature on the cover story. Like it shows Jim Lee's early sketches and then inked and then colored. It's pretty cool. Kind of falling behind on the chat here. What's going on? Weird question. Where do you go to pull up clips from YouTube? Like download clips. Like if you clip something. Okay. Oh yeah. Generally, yeah. I just go to YouTube and then share my screen. I don't, and then play it through the browser. If that makes sense. Okay. What's up, Jay? All right, well that's it. I just wanted to show the book I got, and again, I spent $10 on this. It's my second copy, and I hope I'll be like what I'm intending to do with it. I think it'll be just a fun, kind of long-term project, and I'll definitely show off the signatures when I get back from SummerCon. See if we don't bring back, all the people I meet, like Larry, Marv, all the guys I mentioned, on top of the books that we get signed. getting their signatures on this would be special as well. So again, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Thanks.